Could the registry help me zoom out the document a little bit? And can we scroll up a little bit? Top of the document. Okay. Monsieur le témoin.
Mr. Demirjian, question. This morning, sir, I showed you this document, and you saw the letter V and the check mark beside it, didn't you? And this morning you told us that that meant that you perhaps had seen the document. Is that right? The witness. Question. If we look at the very bottom of the screen...
Means yes, because then at the transcript we have the and is not yes and is not no, to my understanding. So please, can you repeat the question, and I would like to have a clear answer.
Donc je répète.
The witness, question from the prosecution. Now, the document I showed you this morning with the letter V and the check marked at the top to the left of the page, this morning you recognized it, didn't you? Answer, yes. Question. And this morning you said that the V meant that you had seen. Answer, yes. Question, very well. Now, the question that I had about this particular document, my question was about the last sentence, which says that if a soldier does not report to the new unit, he will be severely disciplined. What was that all about? What sort of punishment or discipline would be answer? Disciplinary measures would be taken. Up to 10 days or perhaps 20 or even 30 days of detention. After 60 days, the person would be brought before an investigative panel, and he could even be dismissed. Question, very well. Unfortunately, the photocopy of the document is somewhat deficient. The bottom of the document has been cut off. Could we zoom in, please?
Est-ce que vous voyez?
Question, can you see the signature? Answer, yes, I can. Question, very well. Do you recognize it? Answer, that's the signature. I don't recognize it as being mine. Question, what is the problem with the signature? Answer, it doesn't match my signature. That's what I mean. The actual text is in keeping with the way that we operated. Question, all right. Question, just one more question about the signature. When you say that it doesn't match your signature, what is the problem here? What is problematic? Answer, it hasn't been entirely transcribed.
Okay, donc.
Question. So, is it because it's not completely transcribed that you can't recognize it? Answer, yes, that's right. But I recognize the substance of the documents, and that's what the policy was when dealing with soldiers who did not comply with the orders. Question, very well.
J'aimerais revenir à...
Mr. Demirjian, question. If I could hark back to a topic we looked at this morning and a document we looked at this morning. It had to do with the establishment of the PC Minos. And do you remember? Answer, yes. Question, could you please tell us how this center worked, the PC Minos, with the people who had been assigned there? Answer, the PC Minos was a command post, and Minos was a code or a call sign given to this command post. The gendarmerie, the police, the soldiers would go to the post one after another, and since each organization has its own radio, any information obtained would go through the officer from the gendarmerie who was at the command post. And the same held true for police. Question, and this command post, what was the purpose of it? You say that it was established by the message from the interpreters. Could the 5-second rule please...
Could the 5-second rule please be implemented all the time? Thank you.
The questions and answers are blending into one another.
C'est ma faute, Monsieur le Témoin.
Mr. Demirjian, it's my problem, my mistake. Sorry about that, Mr. Witness. I will repeat my question. What was the purpose of this command post which brought all this information together from the various organizations you mentioned, the army, the police, the gendarmerie? Answer, this command post brought together all the information and provided instructions to the units to deal with the various issues that had arisen at the command post. Question, now you say that they gave instructions to the units. Oh, I see. And who led the PC Minos? Answer, at the time, it was an officer by the name of Sienofé. He has passed away. After him, I must admit I don't know who replaced him. I don't know the structure.
D'accord.
Question, very well. Now, do you know, within this command post, this structure, you had the police, the gendarmerie, the armor. How did the various stakeholders interact? Answer, there was the commander of the command post itself, and around him there were the various staff members representing the three institutions, the gendarmerie, the police, etc. So they would take stock of the situation and prepare a report, and the reports would go to the Ministry of the Interior, reports regarding the situation in the field. Question, very well. Now there's something else I'd like us to return to. This morning you said that if in the course of your work or your investigations, facts might reveal that a police officer might have committed an offense, you would hand over that particular case to the police. Now, what about the other way around? Did it ever happen during the post-election crisis? I mean, the 28th of November 2010 to the 11th of April. During that period, did it ever happen that the opposite would occur, namely that the police, working through the Director General, would provide you with a file relating to an offense committed by a member of the gendarmerie? Answer, I no longer recall exactly, but I believe that in Yupougon, There were some clashes between gendarmes and civilians, and the police investigated. The investigation was sent to the military prosecution office. Question. So you say that the police investigated and you mentioned clashes between civilians and gendarmes. Answer yes. But I did not receive a report directly in that regard. Question. How did you hear about these clashes? Answer. About that matter, the brigade commander of Ypougon told me about it. He reported to me that there had been problems between members of the squadron and a number of civilians, but that the police was investigating. Question. And the brigade commander who told you about that, who was the person? The Ypougon brigade commander? Answer, yes, I no longer recall his name, but it was the squadron commander who was aware of what had happened. Captain Coucugno, he was the one who knew about it. Question, did you ever hear anything about the outcome of the investigation? Answer, I was never told anything about it. Question, and the brigade commander, did he give you the details of these clashes between the gendarmes and the civilians? What happened? Answer, apparently, according to his report to me, the gendarmes and the soldiers allegedly were beaten up by unidentified individuals who were bearing arms, and they retaliated. And I believe some men died. That is what I know, and I know that there was an investigation by the police. Question, and in that situation you had a number of gendarmes who were involved. Can you explain why it was the police who conducted the investigation? Answer, the events occurred within the framework or the jurisdiction of the police. It was a matter of jurisdiction from a territorial point of view or a geographical point of view. It was their turf. Question, very well. Question, take your time, Mr. Witness.
Et est-ce que on vous a...
Question. And did you ever hear about which neighborhood? Answer, Ypougon Sikuji. It's a large neighborhood, and there's a number of sub-neighborhoods within it. That's where the events occurred. Question, and that was during which period of time exactly? We mentioned the crisis, but more specifically, when did these events happen? Answer, honestly, I no longer recall the period of time, but I do remember the events. Question, you said that some men lost their lives. Were they civilians? Did you learn, well, was the RDR involved in this incident? Answer, yes. We were told that it was RDR supporters who were involved, who were gathered. They were in a meeting, so to speak. Blé defense team, I do apologize for interrupting, but just to be perfectly accurate, the witness said that men had died, and page 103, line 6, he said that apparently, according to what I was told, the gendarmes and the civilians were attacked by unidentified individuals, and they retaliated. There must have been people killed. He did not say that civilians had been killed.
Well, let's ask the witness. What did you say? Do you know, or have you heard, or what have you heard about the killing of civilians?
Je réponds.
The witness. I was told that men had died and that the police had conducted an investigation, but I did not receive the results of the police investigation.
Civilians or not civilians, and how many? Do you know any further details apart of that people have been killed?
Jusqu'à Ebola.
Answer. That is what was reported to me, but I know nothing more than that. The police had been assigned to investigate, and I was waiting for the investigation report.
Mr. Prosecutor? You were waiting for the investigation report, and then you never received it, you said.
Affirmatif.
Answer, that's right.
Thank you, Mr. President. Alors, mis à part...
Mr. Demirdjian, question, other than this incident in Yupougon, were there other situations for which you received information from the police directorate general or from other leaders within the armed forces? Any other information to the effect that gendarmes had been involved in incidents, similar incidents, or different ones, or any sort of incidents during which gendarmes may have committed offenses? Answer, no. I was not informed of any such thing. What I do know is that some soldiers from the new forces, les Forces Nouvelles, attacked the squadron in Yupougon and took weapons from them. We intervened to deal with the situation, and the soldiers handed over the weapons to the gendarmes, and I believe there was even a football match to celebrate the peace. That is what I know.
Juste une clarification.
Question, just a clarification, sir, regarding this event you have told us about. You say it was RDR militants who were meeting or who had gathered. Where were they exactly? Where did they gather? Answer, as I said a few moments ago, I wasn't actually in the field. I was told that the meeting was in Yupougon, a particular place in Yupougon, and that there had been clashes. Interpreter correction. In the previous reply, the witness specified that he even organized a football match so that peace should return, and then that was the end of it.
Vous n'étiez pas sur le terrain.
Question, now you weren't actually in the field. So one question. Was there an officer from your command who actually went into the field for this event, or in relation to this event in Ypougon? Answer, I no longer recall exactly. Question, if I suggest to you that the commander in second, General Afro, had been in the field, does that ring a bell? Does that refresh your memory?
Are you confronting the witness with the prior statement? Or refreshing the memory with the prior statement?
Your Honor, at this stage I'll move on, and I'll see if I need to come back on it at a later stage. Thank you. Monsieur le témoin.
Mr. Demigian, question. Now, before the break, sir, you mentioned ensuring the safety during the first round of the election, and you mentioned the involvement of the gendarmerie, the police, the armed forces. I'd like to ask you something. What is an operational order? Answer, an operational order, let's say it is a tactical way of reasoning, so to speak, that is written, and it is titled that way. General situation, specific situation, mission for the units, undertaking the mission. Question, do you remember issuing an operational order before the first round of voting, before the 31st of October 2010? Answer, as I've told you, during that entire period, before, during, and after, it was the Chief of General Staff who had the responsibility for planning operations. And thus, we received his operational order, which we carried out. Question, I'd like to call up a document 0043 0391. This is tab number 88.
Très bien.
Mr. Demigian, great. Question. Now, this document is 4 or 5 pages. Let's look at the cover page, the first page. And here we see that this document is from the Supreme Commander of the Gendarmerie. The recipients, we see the 26th of October is the date, attachments, and the actual message is, please find attached operational order number 1 regarding the presidential elections for implementation. Then we see a signature and a stamp of the Deputy Commander, General Afro. At the very top we see CSG, which you told us stands for Supreme Command of the Gendarmerie. That is the first page. Now let us turn to the second page. Here is the document, Operational Order number 1. Now, you're familiar with the concept of operational order. Answer yes. Question, okay, before we go any further.
Je vous mène.
Let me take you to page 4 of the document 0394.
Donc, c'est la dernière page où nous voyons une
That last page, there is a stamp and signature with your name. Do you recognize your signature? Answer, yes. Question, very well. Let us go to the page ending with 392. Let us go back to that page.
D'accord. Pouvez-vous
Can we zoom into the bottom part of that page? That is as from Situation Générale. Thank you. Mr. Witness, we can see here that the presidential elections would take place on the 31st of October. That is point 2, mission. And the objective is to provide security for the elections. And the last part is, in view of guaranteeing the good conduct of the presidential elections, I would like to reinforce the national police in all the towns and to control all the campaign zones from the 27th of October 2010 to the 30th November 2010. The first question is the 27th of October 2010 as from then. Can you explain to us that time period for which you wanted to reinforce the national police? Answer, as I told you, the operations order comes from the general staff and we forward it verbatim to our units. So the time period is what was indicated in the document received from General Staff Headquarters. Question, very well. I understand that it comes from the General Staff Headquarters, but do you have any explanation for that period, that is 1 month and some days? Answer, this was the campaign period for the elections. Question, is that the explanation that was given to you at that time, that the electoral campaign would last 1 month and a few days? Answer, as you know, when the general staff deploys units, they actually cover a period before and a period after. Question, very well.
No.
Mr. Bugnon. Mr. President, it is true that you can say the witness answered, but if we continued like that, we will go from speculation to speculation. I do not want to go into detail because the witness is here, but we are here for facts and we are going into speculation. I prefer to stop here so as not to say something else. The prosecutor, I'm asking factual questions, Mr. President.
This moment, because I mean, the question was why from this period to this period. Although I think it was quite clear,
Okay,
but it's a fact. It's not a speculation.
Mr. Bugnon, let me explain myself. The question is put to the witness, why this period? And he said, I'm simply reproducing what came from the staff headquarters. And then, continuing on this is speculation because he's being asked, why is it that, in your opinion, that period was 1 month? It is the General Staff Headquarters that can answer that question, Mr. President.
He could also think what the period is about, or not? Mr. Prosecutor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Pouvons-nous passer à la...
Question. Can we go to the next page, please?
D'accord.
Thank you. Let us zoom into the top part of the page, and Mr. Witness, you can see point B, implementation and distribution of missions. The first point, in the towns, district of Abidjan, reinforce the national police with the following distribution. Can you explain to us what it means for the gendarmerie to reinforce the national police? Answer. There is always a problem of understanding. The gendarmerie, the army, and the police, we are understaffed. So wherever the police does not have enough personnel, the gendarmerie is requested to send people to go and assist the police. That is what we refer to as reinforcements. Question. And if we look at the acts to be taken in Abidjan, is to reinforce the national police. In the other towns, the legion commanders, in collaboration with the local authorities of the national police, shall ensure the good conduct of the vote in the respective zones. Is there a difference in the police action here between the Abidjan, in the gendarmerie, the involvement of the gendarmerie? Answer. In Abidjan, it is the national police which is responsible, but in the other towns, it is the national gendarmerie. But since we are understaffed both in the rural areas and in the towns, we always need to mutually reinforce each other.
D'accord.
Question. Very well. When those gendarmes go to reinforce the national police, whose authority do they come under? Who is responsible for those gendarmes? Answer. When gendarmes are placed at the disposal of the police, it is the police authority who is the head of operations. Question. So the police conducts the operations. Do the gendarmes remain under your responsibility as the supreme commander? Answer. During the period when they are with the police, they obey the orders of the commissioner of police in question, and when the operation ends, the gendarmes go back to their own barracks.
Ici, nous voyons...
Question. Then we see in the rural areas the legion commanders, in collaboration with the CCI, will take all necessary measures to ensure the security of the elections. You talked about Commander Kwaku. Answer. Yes, General Kwaku Nicholas. Question. Can you tell us how the CCI functioned during that period? Answer. During that period, Côte d'Ivoire was divided into two. Then there was a demarcation zone in the north, you had the new forces, the armed forces of the new forces, and in the south, you had the FDS with the ONUC. The government decided to create a structure that is the CCI that would bring together elements from both the north and the south, and when they are together, they are answerable directly to the CCI. I do not know whether I have been sufficiently clear. Question. And where was the command center of the CCI? Answer: Yamoussoukro. Question. And here we can see that the CCI appears in the rural areas. I do not see Abidjan or the other towns. So where was the CCI deployed? Answer: the command post of the CCI was located in Yamoussoukro. So the elements, both from the south and the north, were placed at their disposal to ensure security, whether in the rural areas or in the towns.
Monsieur le témoin,
Question. Mr. Witness, up until when did the CCI remain operational? Answer: I cannot give you any precise date, but I think it was immediately after the end of the elections, immediately after the inauguration of President Alassane Ouattara. The CCI disappeared because the two forces were put together and became the FRCI, and today they are known as the FANCI, the Armed Forces of Côte d'Ivoire.
peut-être brièvement.
Question. Very briefly, what was the role of the CCI at that time? You have already said that they brought together officers or elements from the north and from the FDS. And once this was done, what was their precise role? Answer: at the risk of repeating myself, let me tell you that I was not the commander of the CCI. I simply told you what I know. We placed our elements at his disposal, and then the elements from the north joined, and so there was a trustworthy unit that would provide security for the elections, both in the rural areas and in the towns. Question. Under section D here, we can see that the operational center of the gendarmerie became operational on the 9th of October 2010. Where was it based? Answer: at the Supreme Command Headquarters. Question. And once activated, how long was it operational? Answer: during the period, or rather the period depended on the events. Question, and as far as you know, regarding the events at the time, for how long did this center remain operational? Answer, during the entire period of the events, and in fact today it has become a permanent structure.
D'accord.
Question, very well. Mr. Witness, further down, just before liaison, we can see this sentence. The Legion commanders in liaison with the local CEI and CCI representatives will ensure the transmission of information to the higher levels. Now, did the Legion commanders inform you of their operations or activities in collaboration with the CCI? Answer, yes. That is when they sent in their situation reports. Question, the document that we saw a short while ago, situation reports, is that correct? Answer, yes. Question, let us go to page 0395, the annex, with the staff strength for each of the districts. And if we move on to the last page, we can see the total numbers. So let us zoom into the summary, section récapitulative. Let us zoom into the bottom part of the page. Thank you. You can see summary, total strength of the gendarmerie 785, and then it is divided into legions and so on and so forth. Now, this order was dated the 26th of October. Was it implemented? Answer, this was the staff strength imposed on us by the general staff, but we never reached that level of staff strength because we were understaffed. Question, a short while ago you told us that the National Police was understaffed, so they needed to be reinforced. Now, these figures that we see here, are those figures representing the number of gendarmes that had to go and reinforce the National Police? Answer, in relation to the mission defined by the General Staff, and according to the operation orders, these were the numbers, and at our level, we try to fulfill those numbers, but quite frequently and regularly, we were not able to reach those numbers because of understaffing.
Très bien.
Question, very well. Following that order of the 26th of October, Mr. Witness, were any other measures taken by the gendarmerie to ensure security during the electoral process? Answer: we did not have any mandate to plan operations, so we implemented orders in the operations order issued by General Staff Headquarters. I do not know whether I am clear enough. Question: are you familiar with the concept of precautionary measures, mesures conservatoires? Answer: yes. Question: what are they all about? Answer: the precautionary measures are simply supplementary instructions. Question: thank you, Mr. Witness. Now, let us display document 00430441.
Très bien, merci.
Excusez-moi. Juste le numéro sur votre...
Mr. Ndri, the number on your list, the prosecutor 36. Now let us zoom into the top part of the document, and this is referred to as message chiffré, that is with figures. What does it mean? Answer: it is a jargon used by the transmitters. That is a message that is not written in words. It is figures. So one has to know what the figures correspond to. Question: so once again, it is from the superior command of the gendarmerie to all units. And the subject is mesures conservatoires, or precautionary measures. And then the reference is MSG followed by a number, and then the abbreviation CCIOPS of the 29th of September 2010. And the issue here is security for electoral process. Now, this reference MSG, what does it mean? Answer: as indicated, it is a message from the CCI, so they have their own codes and their own abbreviations. Question: very well. We can see primo general measures to maintain on maximum alert and so on and so forth. Let us scroll down a little bit, please. There is segundo, specific measures, and then quarto, specific instructions. In case of attack, you have to respond and then report. Strict respect of the regulatory security posture in the corridors. What does that mean, corridors? Answer: the corridors are usually used to refer to the intersections, that is points of passage that are frequently used, and therefore people go there to prevent infiltrations from the enemies. Question: then later on we have 3 points. Security upstream, fancy, control, gendarmerie, police, customs, water resources, and forests. And then you have security element downstream, fancy. Can you explain to us? Mr. President, that is Ms. Kaji. Once again, we are totally at sea. We do not know who is the author of this document, which the witness is being asked to comment on. We do not know its provenance. We know nothing about it.
I'm getting to it, Your Honors. I'm working according to the sequence of the document.
Please do so.
Alors, Monsieur le témoin, pouvez-vous nous...
Question. Mr. Witness, can you answer the question? So how was this structure? How did this structure operate based on the elements that we have seen here, gendarmerie, police, and so on? How did this work practically? Answer. To begin with, in principle, it was the General Staff Headquarters that issued those type of documents. This means it has a sort of military flavor. So a control post is a location where security has to be provided. So you have people in front, people behind, and the people at that location to control those who are passing through. So these are tactical measures that are used, and applying it within the police system, this is something that is a bit complex to understand. Question. Very well. Let us go to the bottom of the page, please.
Voilà, nous voyons l'étampe.
We can see the stamps. Do you recognize your signature? Answer. I said some time ago that I do not recognize this, and even the substance of the document, I do not recognize it. Question. This is the first time I'm showing you this document. Question. I told you earlier this document corresponds to how we function. I don't know whether you have understood me.
No, it wasn't finished, the interpretation. So.
La question.
Question. In this document, is it your signature? It is the first time I'm showing you this document. Do you recognize that signature? Answer, no.
By the way, can we have the other document which the witness signed and giving it a number for the record?
The ERN number, Mr. President?
Yes.
Yes. So the ERN number for the handwritten signature produced in courtroom this morning is CIVREG 00010139. It's not uploaded yet in e-court and will be after the hearing.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Prosecutor, but we are going to close.
One or two more minutes, Your Honor. Donc, Monsieur le témoin, nous avons vu l'ordre d'opération tout à l'heure.
Question, Mr. Witness. We saw the operations order and you recognized your signature. Now, in this other document, what is your problem? Because we can see the origin is the Supreme Command of the Gendarmerie. So what is your problem with this signature? Answer. It is a problem of understanding. I told you that the content of the document corresponds to the orders received from the staff headquarters, but the signature does not correspond to my signature. I do not deny its contents because we were in the habit of receiving those types of orders. Question. I do not understand what is the problem with the signature. Who signed that document, Mr. Witness? Answer. I'm not able to tell you, but I'm telling you that we received such operation orders from the General Staff Headquarters. So I'm not disputing the substance of the order, but this is not my signature. Otherwise, we are used to receiving this type of orders.
Okay, I think we have come to the conclusion for today. Mr. Witness, thank you for being here. I would like you to recall. I would like to recall you once more of your duties, to say the truth. Tomorrow we will be here again with the continuing of the questioning by the Office of the Prosecutor. Thank you very much. The hearing is adjourned to tomorrow 9:30.
All rise.